Hello, my very good friends, and welcome to another episode of Time Between Times Storytelling with me, Owen Staton. It may have felt like an age in the turning of the world, but I can assure you, January is over. I repeat, January is over. February is here, the month when the world grows brighter, when the days go longer. The warmth in the air is palpable. We are getting there, my friends, but still we gather for tales told around the fire pit of the heart of the forest. This is my birthday month, and I always give thanks on my birthday month. I am glad that I'm still here, and I am thankful for all that you do for me. I started this podcast with just a few listeners, and it has grown and grown and continues to grow. My support on Ko-fi and Patreon, and the number of people who get in touch to say how much they enjoy these old stories, warms my heart. So once again, diolch o galon, my friends. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything. For without you, the listeners, it would just be me shouting into the void. I put these tales here so everyone can listen to them. Many of these have not been told for centuries, I'm sure. But this is a place where they are all recorded and they all remain. So if you wish and if you want to, you can always go back and listen to these old stories forever. It gives me a little sense of immortality, if you like. Makes me like a ghost, echoing through the ages. And the story I will tell today is of a ghost that isn't far from where I sit. A ghost that friends of mine have had experience of. A ghost that continues to haunt day in, day out. The ghost of the Grand Theatre in Swansea. But before we head the hallowed road to the Grand Theatre, that stands like a beacon of light at the heart of Swansea, the city on the coast, let us go to the place we know well. Let us take a few deep breaths, close our eyes if it's safe to do so, and head to the fire pit at the heart of the forest. Are you ready? You look at your watch. You can't believe that is the time. The night has not yet fallen. The day has not yet given up the ghost. It is dusk. It is the time between times, when you get up from your chair and head out to put on your coat. Everything inside you wants you to sit in the warm to see out this winter. But we know there is somewhere we go that not many people know about. So we head out our front door, locking it behind us, down the garden path, and turn right. And there it is, the forest with the trees stretching to the sky. We look around. The dusk mist is starting to fall. The town, the village, the city, wherever we are, is starting to quiet. As we take that step into the unknown, into the fallen leaves, into the darkness of the woods at dusk. Suddenly we are surrounded by shadows. We come to the old mossy tower, just a shadow in the darkness, the moss rising up its side. You feel like you could climb into that upper window, but not today. You take a step over the babbling brook. You place your finger in the water just to feel it's cold, and it causes a shiver throughout your body. You You step over it and take the winding road over the crunchy leaves until you see it. There, right in the heart of the forest, it almost feels like the trees are beating its heartbeat around it. The fire pit. The fire is strong. The logs have been placed around it, and on it are sat all of your friends and family that you wish to be here. They greet you warmly and welcome you to the heart of the forest. You look up, and in a gap in the trees above you can see that it is the time between times, the time when it's neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey, the time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer thin, so thin that for a moment, and just a few moments, we can reach into their realm, and for a few moments they can reach into ours. Now is the time that people see lights in the sky. Now is the time that people see the Tylwyth Teg. Now is the time that people see ghosts. So sit back, open your mind, and let it be washed over by a tide of tales. Far away you can hear the howl of wolves, you can hear the growl of bears, but you know you are safe, right here, right now, at the time between times. The storyteller gets up and starts to tell his story, and we sit back and we relax. Swansea has always been called the beautiful, ugly city. And there in the heart of this old stone and concrete metropolis that has seen many things come and go. The Vikings once passed off its shores many years ago. Hence the name Swansea, or Swansea. Its football team has seen many highs and lows, and I have sat in the stand for many of them. The shops now see struggling times. There's a grey pallor that hangs over the place. But it is indeed beautiful. And there in the middle of it is its beating heart, the Grand Theatre. Home to pantos going back many, many years. Home to joy for many thousands of people who have sat there and seen the latest shows and plays and comedians for as long as anyone can remember. It opened in July 1897. The great opera singer Adelina Patti, who had made her home in the Swansea Valley in the castle known as Craig-y-Nos, made her way by carriage to the stage. The crowds cheered as she walked up onto the stage and stood there, and in a few short words declared the theatre open. She did not sing a note. She was far too expensive for them to pay for her to sing. But she left. Over years, many famous acts from all over the world performed there, and the people of Swansea were grateful that they would take their time to visit the city by the coast. And then in 1912, there was a great variety gala, as acts local and from afar gathered to entertain the populace. The theatre was packed to the rafters. The poorer people sitting up in the gods, the richest down in the stalls. The whole place seemed to buzz with anticipation as comedian and comic and singer, one after the other, brought them to their feet. And then it happened. A young girl called Jenny, local to the Swansea area, with the voice of an angel, stood on the stage and sang. Every time she opened her mouth, her voice echoed through the auditorium, causing everyone's hair to stand on end. She was as beautiful as the dawn, in a long white dress, her dark hair halfway down her back. Not many had heard her sing before. Not many knew who she was. Some said that she was a cockle picker from Penclawdd, who had made her way out every morning onto the beach to pick the cockles and had been discovered by source of her wonderful voice. The audience were entranced as she sang, and when she finished, they rose as one to bring the house down with thunderous applause. The compere made his way onto the stage to thank Jenny for joining them here tonight and asked her what her future plans and would she return to the Grand Theatre. And what she said next echoes through the ages. She said, "I would love to return, for I consider this theatre my home. I have sat where every one of the audience members are sitting today. I have seen nearly every show for the last years since I was a little girl, and this is my home. But I am leaving for the time being. I am going to New York, where they have asked me to sing. I aim to make it my home for a couple of years. My ship leaves Southampton on Wednesday. You may have heard of it. It's all over the papers. It's called the Titanic." I needn't tell you next what happened, for it's a story you all know. But that great ocean liner floundered in the sea, having hit an iceberg, with many hands lost, including Jenny, who went down under the ocean, gone forever. An amazing talent cut short by the hubris of man. But Jenny didn't disappear. Jenny didn't vanish. It seems that Jenny's spirit travelled over the ocean and came back to the place she called home. Soon afterwards, people began to report seeing a lady dressed in white, as beautiful as the dawn, in the auditorium when shows were being performed. People started to see a figure floating amongst the audience, always accompanied by the smell of violets. Nobody was scared, and everyone was just astonished at her beauty. Sometimes when a great singer would sing, she would be there, staring down from the upper circle, a place she had inhabited as a small child, watching show after show. In the early 80s, the theatre was refurbished, and that's when things took a strange turn. When the workmen were there, they would report that sometimes it felt like the whole building was shaking with anger. Sometimes they would hear bottles clanging and clashing in the bar, seats overturned. Almost like the building was becoming a ship that was floundering on the ocean far away. Two reporters from a local paper decided one night to do a vigil in the Grand. The theatre was closed up and the staff bid them farewell, and they sat in that beautiful auditorium, looking at that stage where so many famous actors had strode across in the past. Almost precisely at midnight, just as they started to get tired, just as they started to feel that nothing would happen, they heard the clinking of the bottles in the bar. For a moment they felt like the auditorium shook, like as if it had struck something, and they got up, fearing some earthquake or something. But then down in the stalls, a noise came wafting through the auditorium, the sound of a woman sobbing and crying. They said it was heartbreaking, like nothing they had ever heard, like someone's hopes and dreams had just been shattered in a moment. Terrified, they made their way into one of the boxes at the side of the stage and huddled down on the ground. And throughout the night, they could hear it, sobbing through the night, all the time. This was at the time the theatre was being restored, and when it was made again, painted, added to, the ghost seemed to take a step back, as if they were happy, like they didn't like the changes, but once they were there, she sat back again. But she has not gone away. A friend of mine, who is a beautiful soprano, was standing side of stage, her body racked with nerves. She was just about to walk on and sing a challenging song, and she wasn't feeling up to it. But she took a deep breath, and the air around her was filled with the smell of violets. She said she never felt afraid. Something put its hand on her shoulder. Normally she would have jumped out of her skin, but she did not. And she felt a presence beside her, a calming presence. And when she walked out onto that stage, she sang like she had never sung before, bringing the audience to their feet once more. She puts that down as the greatest moment in her well-established career. Other actors backstage have seen a movement out of the corner of their eye. She is particularly fond of matinees, apparently. Maybe she liked to get to bed early. But many times actors on the stage have looked up and seen that figure in white. And the violets. The smell of violets. Let us hope that Jenny continues to haunt the Grand, for she is a reassuring presence. But the dark echoes of the tragedy of her demise can sometimes come to the fore, causing the whole building to feel like it is on the sea far away, floundering, chandeliers swinging, the bottles clanging together in the bar, and the lady sat in her cabin, sobbing for what could have been. And that, my friends, is the sad and winsome story of Jenny, the Grand Theatre Ghost, a tale I tell you today at the time between times, the time it's neither night nor day, but the sun has gone, and the sky is grey. My name is Owen Staton, and I am a storyteller, and I thank you so much for joining me here for another tale, traditionally told. Thanks for all your continued support. I keep that in my heart, and it really does mean a great deal. If you want to share the podcast with anyone who you think might be interested in these tales, please do so, and it would do me a massive favour if you were to leave me a positive review wherever you get your podcasts, for that enables others to find the fire pit at the heart of the forest and join us at the time between times. No star, my friends. Good night.